SANCO will meet with the City of Tshwane to discuss the future of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri's Enlightened Christian Gathering Ministry in Pretoria. SANCO's Gauteng spokesperson Mashishi says they will also ask the Hawks, the City of Tshwane and Chapter 9 institutions to investigate the finances and legality of the church. Members of SANCO have been protesting outside the church at the Tshwane Event Center since the weekend after 3 women died and 9 others were injured during a stampede on December the 28th. Meanwhile, 3 members of SANCO will be back in the Pretoria Magistrates Court on the 28th of February. They were granted bail of 500 rands each when they appeared in court yesterday. For more on this story, we are now joined from our Pretoria studio by SANCO's Gauteng spokesperson Mashishi. A very good morning to you, sir. SANCO is demanding the City of Tshwane to revoke the lease of the building which Prophet Shepherd Bushiri's Enlightened Christian Gathering Ministry uses in Pretoria for worship. Why is this?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the viewers. Just for correction, I'm not the spokesperson of SANCO in Tshwane. I'm the chairperson of SANCO in Tshwane. Let me take this opportunity and thank you very much and the viewers of the SABC. We are having a meeting today at around 1 o'clock with the City of Tshwane, the police, together with the Archbishop of Patrick Sithole of South African Independent Council of Churches. So we want the City of Tshwane to look into the contract between them and Bushiri in terms of the legal compliance. And further than that, I think SANCO has been mandated by the young people of Tshwane to say, SANCO Salamulele, can you please intervene and get into the matter and make sure that hence there was non-compliance of this between the city and the church. Let the city bring back our facility, as this is meant for facility for the young people to play soccer there and do any other sports activities, but not for the church, as that church has been interpreted as a commercial, because you go to the church, you find that people are paying 20 rand just to help themselves, paying 20 rand to do the washing. People are lying on the ground around the street there. We also appeal to the Metro Tshwane to enforce the law enforcement agency, because that is uncalled for. This is not Banana Republic. Law enforcement agency has to come in terms of the municipal bylaws of the City of Tshwane. We are putting pressure. We are rallying behind the people who have been dying. We are saying enough is enough. As SANCO, Pezuwabo, we are making sure that this matter is not being taken as an xenophobic attack, but it must be principled matter that we need to deal with the dignity and the plight of our people in South Africa.
It's all good and well that you say you're putting pressure, but if you're approaching the City of Tshwane and the City of Tshwane has granted this contract, what bylaws do you think have been overlooked by this church?
One, you know, each and every gathering, in each and every big event, there is a process and system of the city that you call it JOG, where all the stakeholders sit down together for any big event. The police need to be there, the first aider need to be there, fire brigade, security, safety people, all measures need to be in compliance in terms of the Safety Act. But on the basis that the city also didn't look into, and it's shameful because the church is just next door to the chief of the Metro Police. So you're asking yourself to say all this non-compliance is not the responsibility of SANCO. It's the responsibility of the government, the led government of the DA that are in charge for this activity, to make sure that everyone who's applying to have an activity within the city need to be compliant with that job that I'm referring to. So it must have an emergency exit, whereby if in terms of fire, in terms of rain, in terms of anything that a natural disaster might come, there must be safety measures that are in place to make sure that life of our people become first. The South African must understand, must not politicize this, must not take this as a xenophobic attack. they must understand the SANCO position to say, as SANCO, we know that the churches have played a major role in our liberation. We don't undermine churches and we don't attack churches. We attack the manner in which Pastor Bushiri's church have conducted itself. You might look at Brazza. We were there when, after the incident that Brazza taken place yesterday, where 3 people were killed. The right processes were followed. Since yesterday, from the time of the incident until 5 o'clock, we were there monitoring all the situation. So what makes the church not to follow the right processes, to call the police, to call the pathologist, to call the emergency people, and certify all the deceased dead before they can remove and take them to the mortuary. So people must understand us in that context, and the Malawian country and the global country must understand in that context to say, SANCO is not xenophobic. We understand our position. This is not a political gain. We don't gain anything, but only the interest of our poor community that are vulnerable to the situation.
You might be using non-compliance as a means to an end, but what is at the core of your complaint? What is it that Pastor Bushiri is doing that prompts SANCO to want the church to be closed?
You know, in terms of this act, immediately in terms of the compliance, for a critical example, immediately such incident happened. Example like your FNB, anywhere that any fatality incident happen, there are procedures that they need to be followed. Investigation need to be launched. The church premises need to be closed until all investigation are being conducted. So the church have run with the matter. The church have committed crime. The church have run with the matter. Currently they are being charged with defeating the end of justice. So that is where we are currently. So we are not expecting the church to operate. We are expecting the city, as we are meeting with them, to close the church until further notice. But we're also saying the church, that premises must be handed back to the community as it's been meant for the community use, not for commercial use like what they are doing. Because currently that facility is being misplaced. One says the church, but at the same time it's business. So we are not going to comply to compromise our safety regulations. You go to the Safety Act, everybody knows what needs to be followed in terms of the Safety Act. You cannot come and say when people have been died and say you are now implementing the safety regulation. There need to be a public liability. There are a lot of things that need to be followed. So that if people have been died, because it's not the cause of, it's not the will of the church. It's a natural thing that has happened. But they need to be investigated and make sure that firstly that church has been registered with the Council of Churches in South Africa. They've been followed the safety measures in terms of making sure that their people are being taken care of in terms of the emergency. All these things we are still investigating with the police and making sure that these people, especially the church leaders, must be taken to prosecution and they appear before the court of law. Instead, our poor people who are restless, who are defenseless, are being shot by the brutal of police, they are being arrested, and the main suspect, the main culprit is Shepherd Bushiri. Currently, we are expecting Shepherd Bushiri to be arrested, an investigation proceeding. So there's nothing that is happening.
Mr.
So
Mashishi,
you can see and demonstrate that man is very evil.
Mr. Mashishi, as you register your concerns, and I'm sure they are valid, have you taken into consideration that the people who go to this church are not children, they're adults who are not forced to go to this church? I personally know somebody who says, I don't care what they do to my pastor, I love him so much, I will continue to go there. And I imagine there's quite a chunk of people who feel that way. Have you taken these people's feelings and motivations into consideration? Have you engaged with the church members to see how they feel about a possible closure of their church?
It's very disturbing, and I fully agree. I think each and everybody has freedom of association. Each and everyone had to go to where he believes. But in this instance, it's very, very disturbing. You know, people, we are being insulted. We are being insulted left, right, and center. But as SANCO, we have taken a stand. We are not shaken. We are not intimidated by anyone. We are not being intimidated by anything. The very same Prophet Bushiri have got a video that is going viral saying we are going to die. We are waiting for his Messiah to kill us. And we are saying we are men of God as well. We are going, we've got churches that we believe in, not in miracles. Our poor people believe in miracles. As he made a public statement previously to say, when he was asked to say, why don't you conduct this thing? Why do you conduct this magic in your area, where you are coming from? He simply say, South African people, they believe in magic. They don't believe in God. So those of our people that believe in that in Bushiri's magic, we are not against their will. We are not against their belief. But we are saying, let them be treated with respect and dignity. Because we've got families that I can refer to public to them to say, we've got families, we've got friends that the church have been chowing their money, 10 to 11, 13 million. Others, pension funds have been going to the church. Others cannot pay their bills. Others, they cannot support their kids. They cannot pay their bonds. It's a crisis. So all these people that believe in that church, I don't know what they have been done when they arrive there, but you cannot tell me, you cannot tell them about the church simply because they take all their money, they take all their pension fund to the church. So that is not healthy for us. Those people, our own people, we love them. They want help. We need to help them. It's just like a woman that is in an abuse relationship. When a woman is in an abuse relationship, he cannot see that he's in the abuse relationship until he gets help. After he's been helped and been taken out this in this abusive relationship, is where he can see the plight now and see the reality and say,
Mr. Mashishi, we need to wrap up the interview. Just a quick one. What's going to happen to the members of your organization who've been granted bail and will be appearing in court again in a few months?
I don't hear you very clear, but I will try to answer what you are saying. Our members that have been arrested, we rally behind them, and we are going out with a very a mass rollout campaign. On the 18th, we'll have a demonstrated march that we are going to demonstrate, to campaign the all corners of Tshwane and Sanko to demonstrate to what the police have done to our members and sympathize with our members to say, you must never retreat. Forward we go, backward never. So that is the message that we can send to our members to say they must not be disturbed by these small things, by the police that are in the payroll of Shepherd Bushiri. We are going to rally behind them and we are going to make sure that we support them and justice must take its course. We are not going to interfere with the investigation, but what we can surely say is to say, Pambele Siaya, never backward, Pezuwabo, as Sanko, Greater Tshwane.
Abraham Mashishi is the chairperson of SANCO in Pretoria, and the conversation we were having right now is related to our poll of the day, where we're asking you, do you support SANCO's call for Prophet Shepherd Bushiri's church to be closed and for him to be deported? And let's take a look at some of the 83% say yes, and 17 say no. 455 votes have come in. Let's take a look at the tweets. Batla Molo says Prophet Bushiri should be deported because his ambition is money, not lives of South Africans. Let clever South Africans support SANCO. Tabo Quincy Peter says, I'm 100% behind that call, and not Bushiri alone, even his fellow ninjas who claim to be pastors. Mkakilu Vo says, indeed, must be deported. He's a big nuisance. And Fred Twala says, Prophet Bushiri is a hustler, just like politicians and musicians. I voted yes by mistake. Oh, wow. That's a funny one, Fred. Thank you so much for your interactions. We totally and absolutely appreciate them because they help give us a sense of what the thinking is out there. Thank you so much.